Imagine a ballroom so opulent, it makes you feel poor just looking at it. Gilded ceilings soared overhead, reflecting the glow of hundreds of candles and the shimmer of gold-trimmed walls. Every inch of the space whispered exclusivity, from the imported marble floors to the velvet drapes framing the grand entrance, chandeliers the size of cars, the air thick with money and expensive perfume. The scent of rare flowers mingled with the aroma of gourmet cuisine as servers glided between clusters of guests, each more dazzling than the last. This was the beacon of hope Gala, the crown jewel of the Children's Future Foundation, an annual event that promised to change lives, and for one night, to make the city's most powerful feel like saviors. The city's elite gathered, writing big checks, basking in the glow of philanthropy. CEOs, politicians, celebrities, and old money families all mingled, their names whispered with reverence and curiosity. Designer gowns swept the floor, laughter echoed off marble, and champagne flowed like a river. Diamonds sparkled on wrists and necks, each piece a silent testament to the wealth in the room. The orchestra played a symphony of hope, the programs boasted of past triumphs, and the speeches tugged at every heartstring. The foundation's charismatic director, Evelyn Sinclair, took the stage, her words weaving a spell of inspiration and urgency. The foundation was a fundraising machine, breaking records every year. Pledges poured in, each donation celebrated with applause and a flash of the fundraising thermometer climbing ever higher. The gala was its victory lap, a dazzling display of generosity, a night where egos and goodwill danced together beneath the lights. But beneath the glitter, something was rotten. A few sharp eyes caught glimpses of unease, furtive glances, whispered conversations, a tension that didn't match the festive mood. The event wasn't just about raising money, it was about selling a story, that when the wealthy gather for a cause, magic happens. The narrative was carefully crafted, every detail designed to impress and inspire. No one suspected that this spectacle was also a cover for a crime. The very people trusted to safeguard the children's future were hiding secrets behind their polished smiles. Money flowed in, but a hidden system siphoned much of it away. Transactions were masked, records manipulated, and the true beneficiaries remained in the shadows. Behind the velvet curtains, greed and theft played out in the brightest spotlight. The gala's most trusted faces, Evelyn Sinclair, the revered director, and Marcus Hale, the discreet treasurer, were orchestrating a deception as grand as the event itself. Surely someone must have suspected something, right? There were hints, small, almost invisible, but there. But that's the genius. No one did. The laughter and luxury drowned out the whispers. The gala ran flawlessly, every detail perfect, every smile genuine, or so it seemed. Behind the scenes, a chef questioned why invoices didn't match the supplies. Guests were swept up in the spectacle, never questioning the cost of a scallop or a floral arrangement. Only the florist noticed the sudden switch to cheaper blooms. Social pressure made skepticism unthinkable. When one donor asked about the rising ticket price, they were quickly reassured and silenced by the crowd's enthusiasm. The event's perfection was its camouflage. Every flaw was smoothed over, every question deflected with a practiced smile. The board saw record donations and congratulated themselves, never noticing the subtle discrepancies in the financial reports. The media gushed over the glamour and generosity. One reporter, puzzled by a missing guest list, was brushed off with a joke. The foundation's reputation was untouchable. Awards lined the walls, masking the quiet unease of a few junior staffers. Suspicion was not just absent, it was actively discouraged. Volunteers who asked questions were told to focus on their tasks. The illusion of normalcy was maintained by those who should have been most vigilant. A finance assistant, uneasy about a forged signature, decided not to speak up. The gala created a bubble of belief, a shared reality where everything was wonderful. Doubt was drowned in champagne. Inside that bubble, a crime was unfolding, not with a bang, but with the quiet scratch of a pen. A check signed after midnight, a ledger quietly altered. The perfect heist was happening in plain sight. A staff member quietly hid documents as the party raged on. The audience applauded, never realizing they were watching a masterclass in deception. Every ovation drowned out a warning sign. Trust and complacency were the scheme's greatest assets, and in the end, it was the little things, the nervous glances, the unanswered questions that told the real story. For years, the illusion held, until a routine audit changed everything. Brenda, a meticulous auditor who found joy in spreadsheets, was assigned to review the foundation's annual expenses. She began by cross-referencing invoices with payment records, methodically checking each transaction. That's when she spotted a single odd invoice from a company she'd never heard of, Strategic Event Solutions, LLC. The amount wasn't outrageous, just off. Brenda's brow furrowed as she double-checked the vendor's details. She pulled the thread, searching the database for other payments to the same vendor. More invoices appeared, each with slightly inflated costs for lighting, linens, and event rentals. Brenda created a spreadsheet to compare these charges to industry standards, revealing a consistent 15–20% markup. She highlighted the repeating pattern, subtle but deliberate. Her heart raced as she realized the implications. Brenda compiled her findings, flagging the discrepancies in a detailed report. Presenting to the board, she was met with disbelief and annoyance. Some members exchanged nervous glances, others scoffed. But Brenda's questions were backed by numbers, not accusations. She calmly walked them through her step-by-step analysis. She requested the service contracts for the vendor. None could be found. Why the multiple accounts? Why the missing paperwork? Brenda traced the paper trail, each missing document tightening the knot of suspicion. The thread became a rope, leading somewhere dark. The foundation's perfect image was about to shatter. Board members' faces shifted from skepticism to concern. A single anomaly had exposed a hidden world of fraud. The unraveling had begun, and Brenda was determined to follow it to the end. The board launched a forensic investigation, bringing in financial bloodhounds, but the trail was anything but straightforward. Their first target, Strategic Event Solutions, LLC, stood out for a series of irregular payments and round-trip transfers. The company was a shell, no office, no employees, just a P.O. box. Attempts to contact anyone led to dead ends. Payments were traced through a maze of other fake companies, with funds bouncing between accounts in rapid succession. Classic signs of layering. Money was laundered, layered through a dozen ghost entities. Some transactions involved payments for vague consulting services or event coordination that never took place. Some funds paid inflated invoices to real vendors, kickbacks for silence. Others were routed through fake vendors with no traceable business activity. The extra 15–20% was hush money, often withdrawn in cash to avoid detection. Ultimately, the money vanished into offshore accounts. Investigators hit roadblocks with international banks and encrypted transactions. The investigators mapped the entire crooked pipeline, but gaps remained. Some transactions were too well hidden, others lost in a sea of paperwork. Still, they had unraveled the how, at least most of it. But one question remained. Who was the mastermind behind this elaborate scheme? The answer was hiding in plain sight, shielded by layers of deception and complexity. The investigation's spotlight landed on Harrison Vance, the Foundation's trusted CFO, a man whose journey from humble beginnings to the heights of philanthropy was the stuff of legend. Harrison was the architect, universally liked, always presenting glowing reports. He was known for his sharp mind and relentless ambition, traits that had propelled him from a struggling scholarship student to the financial helm of the city's most prestigious charity. But beneath the polished exterior, Harrison nursed a deep resentment. Years of feeling overlooked, underappreciated, and convinced he deserved more than applause and a modest salary. He created fake vendors, approved his own shell companies, and inflated invoices, each move calculated, a silent protest against a world he felt owed him. For fake services, he simply wrote and approved his own invoices, weaving a web so intricate that even auditors missed the signs. The theft was slow, careful, just plausible enough to avoid suspicion. Harrison's attention to detail was legendary, and he used it to cover every track. Over a decade, small streams became a river of millions, funding a secret life of luxury and indulgence. Harrison knew every weakness in the system. He'd built it, brick by brick, ensuring only he could exploit its flaws. The board only saw the top-line numbers, never the skimming beneath. His charm and reputation shielded him from doubt. Trust was his greatest weapon. He wielded it with precision, knowing no one would ever suspect the man who had given them so much. Harrison Vance, the model public servant, was living a double life, one built on brilliance, bitterness, and betrayal. How did this go on for a decade? The answer lies in a web of organizational blind spots, ones that even seasoned professionals can miss. 3 reasons: absolute trust, justifiable spending, and the distraction of success. But there's more beneath the surface. Harrison was family. Questioning him felt like questioning the mission. As one longtime staff member put it, he was the heart of the foundation. We never imagined he'd betray us. Gala expenses were so extravagant, no one knew what was reasonable. An event planner recalls, there was always pressure to outdo last year. No one wanted to be the one to say, enough. Excessive spending was framed as necessary to attract donors. Experts say this is a classic trap. When success is measured by appearances, scrutiny fades, notes a nonprofit governance consultant. The foundation's success blinded everyone to the details. We were so busy celebrating, we missed the warning signs, admits a former board member. As long as donations soared, no one scrutinized the expenses. The board focused on gross income, while Harrison skimmed from the net. We trusted the numbers we wanted to see, says a staff accountant. The system policed itself, but the policeman was the thief. Previous audits were cursory. No one wanted to dig deeper. An expert in nonprofit fraud explains, when everyone's invested in the story of success, skepticism is the first casualty. Harrison's deception thrived in the shadow of the foundation's own success, hidden by trust, ambition, and the very culture meant to do good. The fallout was swift and devastating. In a matter of days, the story dominated headlines, and the world watched as the truth unraveled. Harrison Vance was arrested, his mugshot replacing his image as a hero. The man once celebrated for his generosity became the face of betrayal. The beacon of hope Gala, once a symbol of hope and unity, became a cautionary tale of corruption and shattered dreams. The foundation's reputation was destroyed. Trust evaporated overnight. Dedicated staff lost their sense of purpose, and the organization's legacy was left in ruins. Donors felt betrayed, the community outraged. Many questioned their own judgment, wondering how such deception could go unnoticed. The scandal cast suspicion on charities everywhere, making it harder for honest organizations to earn support and continue their work. The foundation's assets were frozen, its programs shut down, and the hope it once offered vanished almost overnight. The real victims were the children the foundation was meant to help. Their futures, once bright with promise, were left uncertain in the wake of the scandal. This story is a harsh reminder: noble missions don't guarantee integrity. Even the most inspiring causes can be undermined by unchecked power and greed. Trust must never replace verification. Transparency and oversight are not just ideals, they are necessities. We must ask uncomfortable questions and demand accountability, not just for the sake of donors, but for those whose lives depend on these organizations. Otherwise, we invite the next Harrison Vance to step onto the stage, repeating the cycle of deception and loss. And that's a performance none of us can afford to see. The lesson is clear: vigilance, transparency, and collective responsibility are the only ways forward, so that hope, once lost, can someday be restored.